Hey, what's up, guys? Tuki here, back again with another episode of A Nation United featuring Finland. Of course, the Espoo Eagles are back again. In this episode, we begin yet another season where the goal is simple. Make it back to the Stanley Cup final for the third straight year. We lost to Anaheim. We have lost to Calgary. But the goal remains the same, make it back. And whether or not we're able to do so, time will tell, because there have been some obvious casualties from the prior season. The fourth line and even Unokapanen on the third line. Weaknesses on paper. We'll see how these guys do. We'll see how the defense does. Obviously, having someone like Pasi Tirvainen in the third pairing spot rather than having someone like Markus Nutivaara or Rasmus Ristolainen, we've taken a step back in a way, but the big names on this team will hopefully still be good enough to get us to where we need to be. Of course, what we do this season in terms of making trades and bolstering up the depth, easy for me to say, but in improving this team, it's solely dependent on what this draft looks like. And obviously right now, it's not looking too good, but it's early. We still need to see how this draft plays out and whether or not there's anybody that we absolutely want to target. If that's not the case, we have draft picks that we can use to make moves and to make something happen with this squad. So I'm excited to see, as I actually did send an offer to this Limerock guy. I completely forgot about that. Obviously, I mixed up the team a little bit. After the end of the last episode, I let Eric Halla, didn't let him go, but sent him down. I decided not to use him. But let's take a look at this Limerock guy who was on the free agent list. And I was going to actually add him to the team. He was on a very cheap deal. I'm pretty sure basically, $950 deal, which is now the max for a two-way. This guy was looking pretty good. Draft pick of the Capitals. Yeah, we need to get this guy onto the roster for sure. I mean, having this guy on the third line already makes the team look that much better. So he'll get bumped up. And again, we're going to give some of these guys a chance before we look at calling up Halla or Sampo Ranta and other players that you would have seen that were available. So I think what I want to do here, it is actually going to be Unokapanen who gets sent down. Funny enough. So sorry, Una, you have been replaced. And we will we'll make changes from there. I'm going to go best lines for the moment, because I actually want to change that guy over to a two-way. There's always been the talk and the discussion over whether or not, playing certain players together, having a well-balance of player types really means anything. A lot of that, of course, is based off of when you go best lines, the game typically does go skill, defensive, or two-way, and physical players on the fourth line. So there's always that room for debate. And typically, I do like to have skill line, defensive shutdown line, physical line to this point, or at least to set them up that way. How much it does, I can't really say. I have my own doubts, but we will set up Limerock as a two-way. He'll be on that third line with Mika Pirnez and Kasper Bjorkqvist, who, of course, came back after I thought we were going to let go of him following last season, but he has stuck around. We have had that revolving door of names and faces that have been on this team at one point in time or another. But this is the squad now with Limerock here. Let's get this season underway. And again, the goal is simple, and it's the only goal for the season, really. Make it back. Make it back and hope that we can finally get to where we want to be. We have been so close, within touching distance of the past, in the past two seasons of the Cup, only to have fallen short as we win a preseason game 10-2. Not bad. Maybe a sign of things to come. But it's been so tough because it's, thinking back to other series that we've had, when have we ever lost back-to-back Cup finals in that heartbreaking a fashion? I mean, we've lost Cup finals before, but losing Cup finals in back-to-back years, that's been a rarity over the past, almost closing in on 4 years since I've been doing this, which is frightening. But we'll see. I mean, again, we've talked about it throughout this series thus far. The really hit or miss history, as we won't look at the draft class yet, there's really no point, but the hit or miss history within a nation united, the series idea as a whole, or nations united as it was originally known and as will probably come back at some point down the road. Whether or not we give that another go, of course, we would still have the option of using, well, Canada would be easy mode in theory, but, the Russians as well. There are still other, undiscovered options, we'll say, or not undiscovered, but, untested options within this series structure. But with the history that we've had thus far, with the first ever Nations United, where, mixed success, the Swedish Nations United, which is notorious for the results of that, which, spoilers for that. It might be weird to go back and watch a video from 2 years ago at this point, because I'd like to think I've improved just a little bit, and Lord knows certain technical things like video quality have improved. But yeah, no spoilers for that, but it's an interesting one. And then, of course, we had the U.S. series, which also mixed results at times. And now we have the Finns. And, of course, slow beginnings with this team, and knowing that it was going to take a while for us to get some of the bigger names. The draft has been relatively kind. It certainly could have been a little bit worse for us. And now here we are, off the back of losing in back-to-back cup finals. I mean, if we make it this year and lose, then we're making it next year and losing too. We will be the Buffalo Bills of the hockey world, apparently. Maybe that's what we're destined for. Which, sorry to Buffalo fans. It's just it's what came to mind. I don't know what to tell you. Let's take a look at the draft class, and we'll see whether or not there are any top-notch Finns. And the answer appears to be no. Unfortunately, the top-rated Finn is Viitanen. Kari Viitanen. Yeah, so that first-round pick's going to be at play. He is not a bad player by any standard, but there is not a player where it's like, yes, we need to be careful with our first-round pick and need to play it safe. So let's take a look at the team. Obviously, the record right now, 13-10-2, is not ideal. It is good enough to be in third place in the division, but Columbus is 21-3-1. So that's lovely. Say goodbye to the division title already. That's not happening. But let's see here. So Capocacco, 19 points in 25 games. There is that debate over whether or not he should be a playmaker or a sniper, but he's still doing well. Simon Taval only has 1 goal thus far, but 20 points. And then Rantanen, 12 goals, 10 assists. I might change Capocacco just to get a little bit more offense out of him, ideally. But Ludman's an interesting one, where only 4 goals on the season, which is a killer. Louis with a very nice total, and then Lambert. So nobody, unfortunately, on that second line has really, led the way in terms of goals. It's actually an extremely disappointing total for them. Bjorkqvist, 9 points up to this point in the season, 8 for Piernez and 8 for Joakim Lumala. So again, looking like a decent signing. And the fourth line, Alexi Sorella, just 3 points, a -5. Okay, so that fourth line is just outright failing. So that'll be the change that we make immediately. Defensively, the Hikola-Juolevi pairing is just not working. That third pairing's been great. So I think it's going to be Juolevi and Peltonen. We'll go Hikola and Tiervainen and see what happens there. So let's go ahead and make some changes to ye old fourth line, shall we? As I think, this is a tough one. This is a tough one as far as who should get bumped up here. Let me take a look one more time. So Bertanen, of course, was a near playoff hero at one point, but he has just had nothing for us. Again, 3 points for each of them. That is just not good enough. Ranta doing pretty damn well at the AHL level. Koppanen's not even in the lineup. Let's go with Koppanen, Halla, and Ranta as the new fourth line. We will just completely change that out, and if we lose anybody on waivers, then, so be it, and we didn't. If we lose, in that situation, if you lose someone on waivers, who cares? They're not doing well at all, so it's fine. We'll go back and make that change right there. So it will be Ranta, Koppanen, and Halla. Is that how we want to have it set up? That works. That works. And we'll see how that version of the fourth line is able to do. Luukkonen's been phenomenal, so we just need to get the goal scoring figured out. I don't know why it's been that much of a struggle thus far this season. Again, we're in a good spot, although this division is extremely competitive outside of Columbus being, head and shoulders above everybody else. So it is only the beginning of December. We have a bit of a ways to go. But, yeah, the big players on this team really need to figure it out here moving forward. And obviously, draft pick-wise, we have the freedom to move around whoever the hell we need to move around and bring in whoever the hell we need to bring in to really help this team out. As 2 out of 3, since we made the changes, aren't too bad. 6-0 win over Vegas, and then a 6-1 loss to Tampa. Oh, boy. Fun. We're just going to be that level of inconsistent, I suppose. Back-to-back wins, and then a shootout loss to Anaheim. Lovely. Okay, yep, that's just... We're a streaky team this season. As disappointing as that is now, 3 straight losses, 2 pity points out of it. We play the ungodly Blue Jackets and lose 5-2, and then we lose to Florida. Okay. Right. This team, in its current form, is not going towards where we need them to be. We are currently 4 points out of a playoff spot. How are we going to fix this is the question. That new version of the 4th line, it's still not looking good. The 3rd line could be better. Point total-wise are okay. Only 5 goals for Tommy Ludman. What is going on with him? Now, that's a big factor. 18 goals between Kakko and Ludman. Simon Taval up to 3 goals, but obviously a passing machine. Our team just isn't scoring like we need them to. And then defensively, it's not looking good. Heinola and Tiervainen have been okay, but what the hell is going on with the top 4 here? Olli Levy not looking too good. Let's take a look. I mean, it's January 1st. We would still have time, but obviously I'm just a tad bit concerned about the options that we have here. So let's take a look at the defense first. Now, obviously I can't sort by nationality, but we'll still see who the top options are right now. Quinn Hughes might be up there. Quinn Hughes and Charlie McAvoy are the top 2 defensemen. Provorov, Odeline won't be. Finnish, unfortunately. Springus won't be either. Canadian Duke Springus. 2-2, Cody 2-2, Darlene and Shabbat. Letty. Is that Charlie Letty? It is. Stutzel, Jones, Cheka, Sanderson, and Hikola, of course. I mean, Hedman's not available, so there's still Risto out in Los Angeles. He's on a 2-year deal. How's he doing so far this year? And for the trade value that he has, that is an expensive idea to potentially bring back Ristolainen. That is rough. And Amira Heiskanen, who we've never had on the team, also isn't doing that well. And the value is just so damn high for those two. So, I mean, we could bring in that defensive help. Henry Jokiharju, we haven't had either. The Jokiharju. The Jokey. We haven't had him either. He might be a free agent next year. We have just under $3.4 million available. And you kind of see the issue here is that it just kind of feels like we'd be shuffling the pieces around, at least on defense. We're not going to be getting too many people that are that much better than the overall guys that we have. And our lowest overall guy is, he's arguably been our best defenseman this year. It's Connor McDavid and Mikko Rantanen represent the top 2. We got a bunch of 93 overalls at this point. Jesse Puljujarvi out in Edmonton. I can't imagine he's worth that. He's been okay. He's listed as a sniper, which probably isn't right for him. And then Sasha Barkov as well at 32-year. Okay, then. Unless we got him on half salary, Patrick Laine out in Vancouver is doing pretty well. I think, of course, the issue here would be we'd be looking not so much at guys like Laine and Aho, but, some bottom 6 help, essentially. But I think for now, I think for now we might hold off. So wait until we get closer to the deadline, because I can't imagine... I can't imagine us going out and picking up, better options for the bottom six are going to make the team that much better. I think our big issue right now is that our big-time players, particularly on the defensive side of things, aren't exactly holding up their end of the bargain. I would hate to think that a slight deconstruction of this team is the way that things are trending, but that very well could be the case. I mean, if you think about it, some of the guys that we have, the money that they're being paid, the trade value that they have, it wouldn't be the worst idea. But still, I mean, you think about the players that we've lost from last season. Sure, Ristolainen, Nudivara, but defensively we had somebody else, we had players who got sent down in the playoffs or underperforming. They're back in the lineup. They should at least be doing well enough. We still have arguably the best goaltender in the league. The top six has faced no significant changes. Now, funny enough, we were close in record with Vancouver, and then they smoked us, so that was fun. But I don't know. It's a wait and see kind of thing right now, isn't it? We got to find out just where we stand, especially in a division that was extremely competitive through the opening months of the season. We know Columbus is pretty much going to win it unless they've completely botched it. So we end up beating Chicago. We are just about 3 weeks out, a little bit under 3 weeks out from the draft. Calvin DeHaan, you are not available for us. Let's go with for us. That would have been the right way to phrase it, I'm sure. As it's another shootout loss. And I say another, we only have 5 OTLs of shootout losses, but a few more actually would have been more beneficial for the standings, as it's less than 2 weeks out. 3 straight wins. We're on a decent little run in our last 5 games and in this month in general. So we end up beating Vegas as well, up to 33 wins. If we can win the majority, at least 2 out of 4 here, would be nice. That'd be good. Shootout loss to Tampa. We play Montreal 6 days out from the draft. We beat them as well. 1 more win here in these final 2 games before the deadline, and I'll be happy with where we are. Let's see what we got. Washington. Please be a win. Yeah, there we go. Can we beat Anaheim as well? That would be the icing on the cake. If we can beat the Ducks here and have a ton of momentum heading into deadline day, it would be our 36th win of the season. It's going to take forever to load because of the prompts about the deadline being close, but hey, that's okay. I have nothing else to do with my day or my time. Don't worry about it. Good Lord, why does this take so long? Okay, this is ridiculous. There we go. Good Lord. And more loading. Still waiting. Still waiting. Still waiting. Still waiting. Jesus. We end up beating Anaheim as well, 4-2. Welcome to deadline day. Ooh. Columbus, you've slipped a little bit. With 19 games to go, we are just 4 games back of the Blue Jackets, but we could easily be out of a playoff spot if we don't stick to a good pace. So, interesting to note. The first thing I want to check is goaltending. Luukkonen's on Vezina pace. Ville Husso hasn't been great, but we'll leave him. It's fine. Defensively, Juolevi, you should be better than 18 points. You should be. With that skating, the offensive ability, you should have more than 18 points. And you're a -6 as well. And you just got that new contract. Very disappointing. Tuomo Peltonen, I kind of want more than 10 points from him. I got to be honest. Tommy Tiervainen, I can't say I'm that surprised, I guess, with 6 points. 12 for Hikola, which, okay. And then that third pairing has been great. Heinola and then Pasi Tiervainen's a +23. For whatever reason, that third pairing is just phenomenal this year. So that's not going to change. But if we were to change anything about the top 6, number one, it probably wouldn't be Peltonen, even though he has a contract coming up. It's just, a little bit disappointed that guys like Oljärvi and Hikola haven't been just a little bit better than they have been this season. As we look at Kapokako, that's not too shabby, is it? Not bad. Simon Teval, 55 points, up to 10 goals, 45 assists, and nearly 30 goals yet again for Rantanen, our leading scorer. Ludman's up to 15 goals. That's really kind of meh for what he should be capable of at this point. You know, we see that, you know, what looks to be is, you know, a steady increase, and he's going to struggle to get back to 70 points this year. Samuel Luya with 40 points, and Lambert 16 goals, 28 assists. That's been okay, but it hasn't been great. Bjorkvist with 23 points, plus minus is not great. Piernes with 27 points. So in terms of the offense, the third line's bringing it for sure. But obviously, some defensive concerns. And that fourth line has still been pretty brutal. That fourth line's been pretty bad. So some insurance here would be nice and is probably going to be required if we are going to find success in this season and hopefully in the postseason. And then defensively as well, I just wonder if it's worth making a drastic change. It might not be, admittedly, but, you know, maybe. Antti Suomela, holy hell. Is he at AHL? Yeah, I was gonna say. Like, I know it shows the Coyotes logo there, but I'm like, that's AHL, isn't it? He is very well-rounded, though. And an obvious improvement on who we have. Asplund is Swedish, unfortunately. But there is no doubt that Suomela would be a decent little improvement on who we have, so I'm going to target him immediately. We have the cap space as well. And in terms of draft picks, now we do have Los Angeles' first round pick as well, and then a couple of extra seconds, so we're looking good in that regard. If I were to use our second round pick, that might go through straight up. It's a little bit expensive, but I'm willing to do it if they are. Okay, it's going to be just a tad bit more expensive. How about a fourth? Now, you're pushing it on that. This is for a current AHLer. Yeah, let's do it. Let's just get it over with. Thank you. Yeah, we'll see you on the ice. I just got absolutely mugged in the streets right there. But do what you got to do to improve your team, I suppose. Are there any other cheaper options? Not looking good. No Finns there that I am aware of. So Calgary won't help us. Chicago? Bodam, Perlini, Vukola, and Otto Koivula. Vukola, third round pick of the Coyotes in 2020. 19 points in the NHL this year. Attribute-wise, he's well-rounded. I can't fault him for that. And then Otto Koivula as well, who we've had before. Fairly well-rounded, both on one-year deals. I think we'll look to target them as well. Again, it's not going to be, we're not going to be picking up outrageous players here. But, improving the depth overall. Maybe even bringing back in a Niemelainen or a Renanen, who we've had before. Let's just try to rob the Blackhawks here of some decent Finnish depth. Why not? We will go for the LA third and see where the value is from there. I figured it would be quite low. What about the extra second that we have from Detroit? I'm going to safety net that just a little bit, just in case, because you don't quite know. Still no. Okay. I think it's because Vukola actually has some decent value. Second and a third. What do you think, Chicago? Still rejected. Really? A second and 2/3? Please? Okay, I'll take that. It does seem like a lot, but again, we know that there aren't going to be any ridiculous talents in the draft. And I mean, we will have the ability to call up, to call up some people, to trade for some people or for some picks if we need to. As Edgar Owens is there. Kaliev isn't available. Nobody there from Colorado. What about Columbus? Nobody. So that's not really going to help us. Tanaka, Walters. Ranta was a low 4. Not looking too good, but the good thing is we did pick up some relatively cheap help. Rasmus Kupari is available. He has a pretty bad point total, though, and is overpaid. But he could be a decent little addition. Not bad. I believe he is the only one there. Grunstrom's Swedish. Yeah, he's going to be... Yeah, he's the only other option there. We'll keep Kupari in mind because that is expensive. That is a decent little asking price. We have another Finn coming up here, Oskari Laaksonen, who we had before, who has just been terrible. Absolutely terrible for them. And again, defensively, I brought in a little bit of extra depth. That's like, man, if we're going to make any changes, they're going to have to be major changes. And I just, I don't want to bring in Nudivara on that contract. Like, if I could get him on half the money, sure. Because we know what Nudivara is capable of, but he has been miserable in Montreal. My God. He has been so bad. And the price it would cost just to get him back would be outrageous. Nashville. Anybody interesting here? So we'll keep LA and Montreal in mind. Nobody really there for us. New Jersey, nobody there. The Islanders, nobody there. Rangers. Nobody there, really. I mean, there might have been some slightly lower overall guys who were available, but it was pretty straightforward. So yeah, I mean, unless at this point, unless we want to make a major change, and again, that would be shopping like an Olli Levy for someone of like equal value, but then having to tack on draft picks to do it, we're pretty much locked in outside of Nudivara or Rasmus Kupari in Los Angeles. I mean, we do have the ability to get Kupari. One would like to think he'd do a little bit better on our team than he's doing in LA this year. For the fact, too, he could also be a really good center for us in the bottom six. And I mean, he's better than that, too. You know, money-wise, it would be close. That's the one thing I think I'm worried about at this point. It's just money-wise, it's rough because we have some big-time contracts out there. And to be honest now, I don't even know if we'd be able to pull this off. I think, too, Kupari's possible. Slightly. I don't even know if trying to get Nudivara on half value would work. And as it is, we'd be looking at him being like, oh, okay, if someone's terrible in the playoffs, at least we have Marcus Nudivara, who we can put into the lineup. Because again, I don't think I'm going to trade Olli Levy. I don't think I'm going to trade Hikala. Tyrväinen's been okay. He's still a low elite. He has room to get a little bit better. And then Peltonen's also young. And the other Heinola and Tyrväinen have been great this year. So I think we'll avoid Nudivara. But if we can pull off a deal for Rasmus Kupari, we probably should. So let's see again forward-wise what we are dealing with. So that is, of course, 9, 10, 11, and 12 with Lumala. So we have Vikola there, Suomala, who we already picked up, and then Otto Koivula as well, and Lumala. So we're going to have some decent little depth options here. Is there anybody here with value? That's a negative. We could throw Hakanai into this just to save us some effort with draft picks. Send in the low 4 Junila, there's no T, and Pekka just kind of throw these guys into the trade. Pekka Räinen might not be that bad, but obviously we're set with who we have. That'll save us a little bit of value on the draft picks that I'm about to give up, which will include the LA King second-round pick. Of course, we've already robbed them of draft picks in the past. So let me just safety net that with that third. What do you think in LA? That would go through, I figured. Let's just rob you of some picks here. Will that still go through? Rejected. Okay, take out the 4th. And take out the 6th. Wow, really? The 5th is overboard, huh? What about a 6th this year? Will that go through? It will. Let's do it. We acquire Rasmus Kupari in effort to bolster up the depth. Again, defensively, we're about as good as we're going to get. We do have Niemelainen and Renainen both available. I'm gonna hope I can send them down. As it is, it's showing us as being in a little bit of cap trouble. So this is gonna be interesting, because I know the whole Kupari thing puts us into a little bit of trouble. Oh God, it didn't send down anybody that I care about. Oh boy. I have no choice but to hit this button and hope it doesn't screw me in terms of losing anybody on waivers. That's kind of the hope. Let's just go ahead and make sure we didn't lose. Okay, that's it. Lindblom was claimed, which scared the hell out of me, but he's not ours. Waiver claims. None of those guys are ours, so we don't have to worry about it. So I don't think we lost anybody. Let's double check what the roster looks like now after the whole cap concern. So again, goaltending's fine. Defense, Niemelainen's there. It successfully sent down Renainen, which is fine. Or Renainen. And then forward-wise, we have 10, 11, 12, 13 with Koivula. And it didn't send down anybody else. So that's perfect. Now, why it wouldn't let me send down people, who the hell knows? But don't worry about it. So right now, Pirnez is shaping up to be the healthy scratch, which I don't necessarily agree with. But I understand why. I mean, the bottom six did just improve tremendously. I want Lamala to stay. Suomela hasn't played in the NHL this year. Otto Koivula has. He has 11 points. And then Fuikola's also been pretty damn good. So I think, I gotta be honest, I'm gonna take out Otto Koivula, because I want to see what the rest of that team has, because Pirnez has been pretty damn good. So, I mean, the overall scoring ability of this bottom six has just drastically improved. And to be honest, I think we're still going to go Bjorkqvist, Pirnez, Lamala. And let's go with Suomela, Kupari, and Vuikola. And we'll see what happens from there. Player types could be changed around, but obviously now the bottom six is just stacked compared to what it was. The third pairing stays the same. Let's go with Hikola and Peltonen on that top unit. In terms of shooting, we'll have Peltonen on his strong side, and then Tiervainen and Olli-Levy will have Olli-Levy on his strong side. I mean, that's honestly about the best we can do. That's about as strong as this roster can, really be. Obviously, we have guys on the fourth line who could be pushing for slightly higher spots than that. And we will have the ability to switch people around and, go with whoever is actually performing at a high level. Mainly, I hope that's how things factor in once we get into the playoffs. And, make those changes where necessary. For now, it's just we have to hope that there's enough talent on this roster, and there is, in theory, for us to make the postseason. And that's, again, what it's all about. Make the playoffs, just get there, and we'll make whatever changes we have to once we're there. As, again, nobody major for us. Obviously, Pettersson is outrageous, but doesn't factor in for us. He is Swedish. So I'm intrigued to see what happens here. Really, whether or not Suomela is able to take a step up, just because, again, we have Koivula scratched, and we know that he can at least perform at a decent enough level. Mixed success here beyond the draft as we head towards April. Final game of the month against New Jersey is a 5-3 win. So 44, 25, and 7 as of April 1st. Where are we in terms of a playoff spot? That is the question. We are neck and neck with Columbus. So a playoff spot is all but guaranteed unless we completely butcher our own chances over the last 6 games. There is a chance for us to finish first, second, third. You'd like to think in a wild card spot, but the Atlantic is outrageous as well, top team having 88 points. So we're in a good spot to make the playoffs here. We just have to make sure that we get results now when it matters, and we could have home ice throughout the playoffs, or at least throughout the first round again with the Atlantic being as dominant as it is. It's an interesting season up to this point. We get a shootout win over Buffalo. We play a really good Ottawa team and lose, and then a shootout loss to Minnesota. Not great, considering the Wild aren't exactly a playoff team. We'll be going up against the Vancouver Canucks, who have one more straight loss as opposed to a regulation loss or an overtime loss than we do. One more regulation loss. We have clinched a playoff spot. We're going back it again, but we are now a point back of Columbus and just a point ahead of the Islanders. We need a win here against Vancouver if we want to keep our division title hopes alive, and we do get the win over the Pacific Division leading Canucks. That puts us into first place, 1 point clear of the Islanders and Jackets. We can easily win out here and get the job done. We're playing a struggling Nashville team. All we have to do is win, and the Metro Division is ours yet again. Let's see what happens. Can we beat the Preds? Yes, we can. 3-2 in overtime. And that will, we don't know yet. We need to wait to see what happens with the Islanders and the Jackets. Please drop points. Please, 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 please. If we win, as long as we get a point, we will take the division away from Columbus. That's all it will take. However, they have tiebreaker on ROW. We need a point. If we fall short and do not get a point out of this game and Columbus wins, they win the division. We are in control of our destiny. A playoff game before the playoffs even start. Let's see if we can do this for our 48th win of the season and a division title. Just don't lose in regulation. First period, we get the opening goal. Mikko Rantanen on Hunter Jones. Second period, we get another goal. Kako, 20 shots to 19. They were killing us in shots to that first period. We dominated them in the second. Third period, and Hikala scores. That should do it. Quick sim the rest. 3-0 shutout win. A clutch performance. And that is a division title secured for the Espoo Eagles. 32 save shutout for Luukkonen. We're looking good. We're looking real good. A division title again secured for the Eagles as we head back into the playoffs. Oh, man. It was looking rocky there, man. For the Blue Jackets to finish third, that is a nightmare for them. They were cruising earlier on this season, and they just couldn't sustain it. 104 points. We walk away with the Metro Division title. But again, the Atlantic is just a murderer's row. It's unreal. As, again, they had the two top teams. We finished third in the league, though. Not too shabby. Goals for per game at a 2.65, which was up there, but not significantly up there. Goals against, I'm honestly not even sure where we were. Bottom three. Next to Ottawa and Tampa. Not bad. Our power play was at 23.2%, which was top 5 in the league. And our penalty kill was at 79.8%, which was mid-table. Again, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Kasper Simon Tyval led this team in points with a very nice 69, 12 goals and 57 assists, 68 points, 34 goals for Rantanen, 63 points, only 16 goals for Tommy Ludman. A little bit disappointing for him. Kako with 62 points, 58 for Lambert, and 52 for Louis. So the top 6 finished between 52 and 69 points each. That's not too bad. Mika Pirnez on that third line put up 34 points. Bjorkqvist with 29. Lamala with 29. Not too bad. 1 point under the target. And on the fourth line, Timo Vikola finished with 22 points. Kupari with 22 points. Koivula with 11. And I don't think we'll be starting Antti Suomala in the playoffs. I think it'll be Koivula who gets the chance. I mean, especially, too, if we want to look at potentially changing up player types. I mean, again, if you want Pirnez as a two-way, which is probably fitting. I mean, a two-way or a grinder, right? Depending on if you want him on the third or fourth line. Kasper Bjorkqvist, again, is kind of like the prototypical two-way for how well-rounded he is. Could be a grinder as well, but I'd rather have him on the third line. Lamala, I mean, certainly a bit more offensively oriented, but a two-way fits. Really, the only thing missing from his game is the physical aspect. But having him as a sniper for that shooting accuracy, not exactly the worst idea. Vikola, so well-rounded, could be a playmaker, but I feel like would be better suited as a two-way or a grinder just because of the low offensive awareness. So you're talking third or fourth line. Rasmus Kupari, same thing. Two-way or a grinder. Bottom six guy for us. The offensive awareness is nice, but the passing, the puck control, and the shooting is just meh. And then Koivula, who we had set up as a grinder before for good reason. Again, probably better to have him as a grinder rather than a two-way just because the passing isn't exactly where you'd want it to be. And then Antti Suomela had a chance, but, I mean, again, someone else two-way or grinder, but woof. Just did not do much with the opportunity. So let me know what you think as far as who's the odd man out when it comes to that forward core in the bottom six. Pasi Tiervainen and Olli Levy both finished with 25 points. Big difference, though. Tiervainen's an 80 and finished as a plus 31. Levy is a 90 and finished as a minus 11. Figure that one out. Thomas Hikola, 16 points and a minus 1. Peltonen, 13 points, a plus 17. Heinola, 8 points and a plus 24. And then Tiervainen, 8 points and a minus 8. So, not exactly the most impressive numbers amongst our defense. We'll leave it that way. And then goaltending-wise, I would presume, it's a hell of an assumption, but I would think Luukkonen just won himself a Vezina. More than likely. Let's take a look around the league, shall we? Before we take one more look at our team and what we should do. So Matt Murray was the winningest goaltender. I think Matt Murray won it. Wow. I mean, does it go to Ronald Lamb? Does it go to Pedro Schmitz? Does it go to Murray? Does it go to Luukkonen? I think it probably goes to Murray for the amount of games played. 10 shutouts, though, for Lamb. My God. There were some elite goaltenders this year. I mean, does Luukkonen get it for the GAA? Probably not when compared to Lamb, but Luukkonen played more games. I have no idea who's winning the Vezina. If I had to guess, I'd say Matt Murray. But no real guarantees. That is an insane standard for goaltending this year. Quinn Hughes led defenseman in points. Okay, maybe our defensemen weren't that bad. All things considered, only 3 50-point guys. Leading the way goal-scoring-wise was Vasyunov in Toronto and Scott Perunovich in Arizona. And for the forwards, we had Vancouver, Besser and Pettersson. Crazy. And Patrick Laine now, of course. Look at the unreal drop-off in points. What is up with that? I think I actually just realized what is up with that. I think I know. I don't think I changed back the settings. That's what it is. So, let me double check this, but I'm pretty sure. Actually, here, let me check the rookie race really quick. Fuck. I think I know what it is. Because if you just have the normal settings on, you can still get players that have over 100-point seasons. As, of course, we had no rookies, but let's look at the league-wide rookies. It's going to be Tyson McIntyre, more than likely, over Holden Donovan. I can guarantee I didn't put the settings back on, because when we last messed with the settings, it was to turn them back to normal so that when we watched the AI play, when we lost the cup, that we didn't have crazy gameplay. Well, yeah, that's exactly what happened, because icing and offsides, penalties aren't jacked up. So that really changes the outlook of this season in terms of point production for some of these players. Because I'll be turning, and here, I'll do it now, just so you guys can see again how we set it up, but that really has to change the opinion on guys like, really just everybody in our top six. Like, that has to, that absolutely changes the opinion there. Because, obviously the scoring wasn't going to be as high. We didn't have the rules, the rules set up in a way to help boost up the offense. So, as far as being a little bit harsh on some of these guys, I think we have to forgive a little bit. It's okay that some point totals weren't as high as they could have been. It's my fault. But it certainly now sets the stage for an even more interesting postseason where scoring will be expected to be higher, although it's not as if we didn't see some high-scoring games throughout the regular season anyway. But, yeah, obviously that explains the lower points this year. And for a second I thought, oh, okay, it's probably just down to our players. No. Once I saw that major drop-off between the Vancouver 3 and everybody else, it was pretty obvious what happened. So again, as far as Simon Teval hitting 69 points, man, he might have hit 100 points in the regular season. That top line would have been that much better. We still have to answer the question of who's the odd man out. It's probably going to be Suomela, and we'll probably get Koivula back into the team. But, it also takes a little bit of pressure off of our defense as well. With Juolevi only putting up 25 points, I'm not going to say all's forgiven, but you're forgiven a little bit. It makes sense that the numbers were down, and it is completely my fault. Now, as we go to the postseason, I actually haven't even done the math. Who the hell are we playing here? It is going to be Florida again. Our good friends, Florida, and an old friend in goal, Loxo. We made it past them last year. Will we be able to do so again this year? That is the question. But guys, we are going to end it for now. I'm sorry for being an idiot and not changing back the settings, but, them's the breaks. Let me know who you think should be the odd man out in terms of the forward core. And again, the playoffs begin again. Can we make it back? Will the third time be the charm? It is Dallas and St. Louis, Winnipeg, San Jose, Edmonton, Anaheim, Vancouver, and Detroit. Of course, so we put back in the West. And in the East, the Islanders and Blue Jackets. We take on Florida. Tampa plays Buffalo, and Ottawa plays Philadelphia. The playoff journey begins again. Please let the third time be the charm, even before a first-round loss.